In this video, we're going to be looking at transforming the graph of a function by stretching or shrinking. Okay, so we've got two cases. If you are multiplying by something on the inside right here, like this, so it's getting something's multiplied by the x on the inside of the function, then that's going to be a horizontal stretch or shrink, and that means we're going to divide our x coordinates by whatever that thing is. Okay, whatever that a is, we will divide the x coordinate, and we'll leave the y coordinate alone. Okay. Now, if the number that's being multiplied is on the outside, so it's being multiplied by the entire function, not just being multiplied by x, like here, it's being multiplied by the entire function, that's going to be a vertical stretch or shrink, so up and down, and that means we're going to multiply our y coordinate by a. Okay, so in our first example, we have the graph of f of x. We're asked to draw y is equal to f of 2x. So the number is being multiplied by the x on the inside. So this is going to be a horizontal stretch or shrink. And what it asks us to do is divide the x coordinate by a. So I'm going to get a few nice places on this graph. So I'm going to label a few of these. So let's look at this point right here. What is that point on the graph? So that's -2 on the x-axis and 4 on the y. Okay, so I'll label that -2, comma 4. This one, of course, is 0, 0. That is at the origin. Okay, and then let's do one more. Let's do this point over here. That's point 4 on the x, 2 on the y. So 4, comma 2. Okay, so since it tells us we need to divide the x coordinates by a, the x coordinates are the -2 here, the 0 here, and the 4 here. So I'm going to divide those and get new x coordinates, but I'm going to leave the y coordinates alone. Okay, so I have this -2. The number that I'm multiplying by the x is 2. So I'll take this number right here and divide it by this number. So this -2 gets divided by 2. So it becomes -1, comma 4. So I divide this by 2 and it becomes -1, comma 4. So if I go to -1, comma 4, that will give me this point right there. Okay, so it just moved in one time. Okay, so the -2, comma 4 became -1, comma 4. Okay, if I divide this x coordinate by 2, okay, that's not going to do anything, right? 0 divided by 2 is still 0. So this point doesn't change. It stays there at the origin at 0, 0. Okay, and now let's look at this last one. We have 4, comma 2. If I divide this x coordinate, this 4, by the 2, 4 divided by 2 is 2. So my new point is 2, comma 2. I'll write that here, 2, comma 2. And 2, 2 is right here. So our new graph looks like this. Okay, so that was a horizontal shrinking. It got smaller horizontally. Okay, let's take a look at this next one. So we've got the half that's on the outside. It's being multiplied by the entire function. So that's the second case right here, where the a is on the outside. It's a vertical stretch or shrink. And what we're going to do is multiply the y coordinate by a. So let's get these coordinates here real quick. So that is the point 2, comma 4. This one is still 0, 0 like last time. Okay, and this is the point -2, comma 4. Okay, so it tells us to multiply the y coordinate by whatever this number is. So the y coordinates are a 4, this one is a 4, and this one is a 0. And we're going to multiply each one of those times a half. So when I multiply a number by a half, I'm just taking half of it, right? So if I multiply the 4 by a half, it becomes 2, because half of 4 is 2. Same with this one, half of 4 is 2. So I get these new points. This is going to be -2 and 2, because I multiplied the 4 by a half. So my new point is -2, 2. That's that one right there. If I multiply this 0 here by a half, it's unchanged. So I leave it there, no change. And now if I multiply this y coordinate here by a half, it also becomes 2. So that becomes the point 2, comma 2. 2, 2 is here, and there is my graph. So this thing was a vertical shrink because it got smaller vertically. Okay, let's look at this next one. So we've got the half that's on the inside. It's being multiplied by the x. And recall, when it's on the inside, you divide the x-coordinate by a. Divide the x-coordinate by a. So let's go ahead and mark these points. That's the point -2, -4. This is the point +2, -4. And up here we still have 0, 0 at the origin. Okay, so I am going to divide the x-coordinates by a. Okay, so I'll divide it by 1/2. I'll do that little calculation down here. So this x-coordinate there, that's kind of messy. That is a 2 right there. So I'm going to take that x-coordinate and divide it by 1/2. So let me do that down here. The x-coordinate is -2. If I divide that by 1/2, okay, I have to flip this fraction and multiply. So this becomes -2 times 2 over 1. So instead of dividing by 1 over 2, we flip it and multiply by 2 over 1. You can put a 1 under here as well, and you can see that -2 times 2 is -4, and it's divided by 1, which doesn't do anything, so it's -4. Okay, so I'm going to change this -2 into a -4. So I get -4, and the y-coordinate is still -4. Okay, so -4, -4 is right here. Okay, that takes care of that one. Now, if I multiply or divide the x-coordinate here by 1/2, well, 0 divided by 1/2, nothing's going to happen. It's still 0, 0. So I won't move that one at all. And then finally, I've got this x-coordinate, this 2, and if I divide it by 1/2, it's going to be similar to this, right? I can do it really quick. So 2 divided by 1/2, that's going to turn in 2 times 2 over 1, which is 4. So that x-coordinate becomes 4 instead of 2. Okay, so it becomes the point 4, comma, -4. So 4 on the x, -4 on the y. That's right here. Kind of wrote that in the middle of the graph there. That's all right. So there's part of it, and there's the other part of it. Okay, so that is a horizontal stretch because it got wider horizontally. Okay, let's do one more here. So we've got the 2 that's on the outside. Okay, so that is the vertical stretch shrink, and that's we multiply the y-coordinate by a. Let's get 2 points here. This is 0, 0. And let's see, what is this point? 4, 4. Okay, so since it's on the outside, we multiply the y-coordinate by whatever that number is. So we multiply the y-coordinate by 2. Okay, so if we multiply this y-coordinate by 2, that's the 4 here, right? We multiply that by 2, it becomes 8. So we get the point 4, comma, 8, because we multiplied this 4 times 2. If we multiply this 0, the y-coordinate here, by 2, it stays 0, 0. Okay, so that one is unchanged. Let's plot this 4, 8. So 4 on the x, 8 on the y is here. Okay, and then we have this line right here. Okay, that's transforming the graph of a function by shrinking or stretching.